Hey YouTube family, welcome back to the channel, and today's video is going to be a 30-minute full body stretch, and we're going to be focusing mainly on our hips, our hamstrings, and our lower back. We're going to throw in some shoulders too, but we're going to be moving with our entire body, so we're going to feel the connection through our hips, our hamstrings, through our back, into our shoulders, because all those awesome things connect, and it's important when we stretch that we feel that relationship between all those different movements to make sure we're getting the most out of our session, and we're going to feel our body moving the way we want it to move when we're doing activities too. So we're going to go through about 7 different sequences here, and by the end I want you guys to feel loose, to feel limber, and remember, if anything hurts, we're going maybe a little bit too far. Let me reiterate again, it does not need to hurt for us to make the gains that we want to make, especially with our mobility. We want to build that strength slowly and surely over time, so we have confidence in our body. It does not have to hurt. As long as we make this a habit, a routine, we're going to see those gains that we want over time, and it's going to feel amazing. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to start standing up with my feet maybe shoulder width apart. And it's okay if you're cold, we're going to take it slow, and we're going to build that nice looseness set by set by set. So my feet are about shoulder width apart. I'm going to bend my knees to bring my hands to the floor, and I'm going to move side to side here a little bit with my stretch. So my knees are going to bend, and then I'm going to straighten one leg, bring my hips to that side, feel the hamstring stretch, and if you can, just shift a little bit over more. I love the way that feels on the outside of my leg. Back to the middle, bend, and then straighten the other one. Try to get a nice full lock. Slowly and with control, and keep going side to side. Take as much time as you'd like on one side if one side needs a bit more attention. So nice. About 10 more seconds here. Breathe into those stretches. And back down to the ground. All right, so let's start opening the hips a little bit now. So we're going to be in a wide child's pose or a froggy with our feet turned in a little bit too. That'll ease some of the tension off. And just like we did before, we're going to rock a little bit. We're going to come back with the hips, maybe push them to one side. And then back. Moving in the stretches is sometimes a really good tool to tie in with our breath, and to see if one side feels a bit tighter than the other, but just make sure we're always moving with control when we're in these big stretched out positions. About 10 more seconds here. And bring those knees together. And our hands are under our shoulders. Let's try to keep the arms straight here. And I just love loosening out the lower back and hips with this. We're gonna bring our hips side, and then lift to the other side, lift to side, lift to side. A couple more times. You can also bring the hips back, up and around, whatever feels nice. And let's bring the hips back to the heels and just lengthen out. And taking a few nice deep breaths down here. And relax. All right, so now on our butt for the next one, we're gonna have our legs out straight again. I like starting standing up because that kind of lets me lengthen out, especially my spine if we're doing this first thing in the morning too. But you can always modify and do those from the ground, or again, you can do this one standing up too if you guys prefer. So that's totally up to you. It's the same position, just from a different angle. So I'm going to start by reaching up, breathe in, lengthen the body, and then reach forwards as far as I can. Now when I just hold this one, I like to work the ankles a bit. I'll reach and pull back. That lengthens out the lats a little bit. Ankles are so important to mobilize, and it hits the hamstrings a little different too. A couple more times. And we're gonna start adding a little bit more of a twist here too. So take one hand, grab as far as you can down on one side, and then you're gonna try to bring the opposite shoulder towards that knee. Other hand can rest on the ground, or you can let it rest up and just twist down, focusing on one leg more. Nice deep breaths as we hold this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, and up. And before we go through it again, let's bring our feet together. We're gonna make a butterfly. Okay, now any of these seated stretches that we do to make it a little bit easier to reach forwards. If you're not feeling that reach, you can always put something under your butt to raise yourself a little bit and your feet stay on the floor. Again, switching the angle a little bit, but you're gonna get that nice bigger reach from the stomach down. The butterfly is one that I use that sometimes because it's kind of my nemesis here. So making a butterfly, push the knees down. For the first one, add a little reach if we'd like, but let's focus on pushing the knees down first. Take a few more deep breaths. And back to legs out straight. We're gonna reach again, but then we'll twist to the other side, and then we'll butterfly again. So I like to reach up first, lengthen the body out, and then try to bring the stomach close to the thighs as I reach down. And it's okay to let yourself round at the bottom too. And another thing you can use here, instead of using your hands, if it's hard to grab the feet, grab a belt, put it around your legs or your feet so you have something to stretch into by that pull. And take the other hand, grab the outside of the other leg, and let's reach that shoulder to the opposite knee and twist down. Couple more breaths. And up, and back to our butterfly. Good, push the knees down. This time we're gonna try to walk the hands forwards a little bit. And hold just with our core strength, so you'll feel your abs engage here as you try to reach further and further. And I hate the butterfly, but I have been working on it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and sitting up. All right, so right from here, hopefully we open those hips a little bit. And again, you can keep that butt raised a little bit on this next one. We're gonna open up the legs. Doesn't need to be all the way open too. For karate people, this is one we do a lot, so you'll see that we get that big open stretch quite often. And I know that's not the same for everybody, so it doesn't need to be super, super big, but I want you to make sure that the toes are pulled up, the knees are pushed down, the legs are a little bit engaged here. We want to try to stretch with a bit of tension in our muscles, not keeping them really loose. Because anytime we're using them in an activity, they're going to be tense too, so let's make sure we keep them more active. And we're going to reach forwards a little bit with the stomach. Just hold that stretch for a few breaths. And up, let's counter that out, but we're gonna do it again after. So now my hands are gonna come behind me, my feet will come wide. This one feels real nice. We're gonna take one knee, we're gonna bring it in. And now for this one, to add a bit of tension and to deepen the stretch, when I bring the knee in, if this feels good, just stay here. But if you want a bit more, you're gonna lift the hips and push the knee forwards. As you do it, feel the quad a little bit more, stretch, come back, and the other side, in and forwards, and back, moving nice and slow. Let's do a few per side, and as usual, take a bit more time on one side if it feels necessary. And in, forwards, and back, and let's open up those legs again. Walk the hands forwards again. Again, let that stretch settle. We're gonna move a little bit more in this one than we did last time. So from here, when you feel that stretch, the muscles are tense, feeling the hamstrings and the inner thighs. We're gonna try to lift the arms up, reach forwards, lengthen the body. And then breathe out, melting down a bit more. We'll do 2 more of those. Let it settle. And breathe in, reach forwards. And breathe out, let it settle. And we'll do 1 more. Breathe in, reach up. And breathe out, let it settle. And close the legs. All right, back to hands on the ground behind us. And let's rock it side to side. Ready, and knee in, forwards if that felt good. And back, knee in and forwards. Back in, forwards. Perfect. All right, so the next sequence we're gonna do standing up. And then we'll come back down to the ground. So I'm gonna stand up in a sumo position. My feet are turned out. I don't wanna be too wide here. And so I'm making sure that I can keep my knees pushing out and feel some weight on the outside edge of my foot to really open up with the knees and the hips. So I'm gonna bend into my sumo, elbows on the inside of the knees. I'm just gonna push my knees open and feel the hips opening on the inside. Good. From here, we're gonna keep holding. In a couple seconds, we're gonna take a big deep breath in. When we breathe out, we're gonna let go with the arms, try to straighten the back and not let our knees move. So we're gonna try to control ourselves in these big stretchy positions. Ready, and breathe in. And breathe out, let go, hold. Keep holding for a few more seconds. And take one knee, pivot it into a long lunge, drop the hip down, feel that stretch. And back up, straighten the legs. We're gonna come whichever side you want. We'll do the other side next time. So my feet are gonna be down, planted on the ground. For this, I like to keep my toes turned in a little bit to lengthen to the outside of my hamstring and give the ankles a stretch. So my arms are gonna be up, and I'm just gonna take a nice side bend to one side, over, pull that arm. And then we're gonna twist down, reaching for that leg. And relax, shake it out a little bit. Let's start from the sumo again. Pivot the other way, and then we're gonna do the side bend and reach the other way too. So let's bend the knees, sink the hips down, push the knees open. We want the feet maybe on about a 45 here. Don't turn them out too much. Ready, and breathe in. And breathe out, let go, straighten the back, feel the glutes, keeping your hips open in this position. And pivot the other way to the long lunge, knee down, chest up. Try to keep the knee off the floor if you can for this one. And standing back up, turn the feet in again, reach up, and bend to the side. And turning over, reaching down for the ankle. And relax, shake the legs a bit. All right, sitting back down on the ground. We're gonna start our glutes a little bit more now. Then we'll come back to the hip flexors and hamstrings a bit more. So let's take one leg, cross it over here, wrap around, pull the knee in. We're gonna add a little twist by turning against it, and that's gonna bring the thigh more across the chest and lengthen the outside of the glute. For this, sometimes I like to tuck the other leg in too, and that gives me a bit of a better anchor to deepen the stretch. So make sure we get a nice deep stretch here, because we're gonna move a little bit with our core, kind of like we did earlier, but we're gonna feel this a little bit more in our abs, which will be a nice stretch for our lower back, just twisting our whole body like we're wringing out a sponge. Couple more seconds, deep breaths. And let go with the hands. We're gonna straighten the bottom leg so it's on the ground, but I want you to try to keep the other foot off of the leg and your hands wherever you want them, but not on the ground. We're gonna go for 3 of these. So we're gonna take the leg that was stretching, we're gonna extend it as far as we can, over and across our body, and take the opposite hand of that, and we're gonna twist through, feeling the abs squeeze, keep this nice and tight, and then we'll come back to that position. We're gonna do 2 more times. Ready, extend and twist. And back, 1 more time, extend and twist. And back, and then we'll get into a reclined pigeon so we can bend the knee, lay down, cross the ankle over, pull it in. If you want to make this one harder, then do the pigeon without the other leg up. And that lengthening here is going to make it harder to hold that glute stretch. So whichever one feels right for you, pull it in, feel the glute stretch. Try to keep the back down for this one. And let go with the hands, bring them down. So try to keep the position of the stretch. You're gonna slowly take that foot and twist it over to the floor. And let it go. We'll do one more. I love finishing with this one. So we're gonna straighten out the leg that was on the bottom. This leg's gonna come down a little bit. We're gonna keep the foot lined up with the knee. Grab the outside of the knee with the opposite hand and just twist it over. Maybe look the other way. And make sure that chest stays nice and open on the ground here. And let it go. Beautiful. All right, let's work the other side here. And one thing I do love about going leg to leg like this is I really get to see which side has a little more bend, a little more mobile, and which areas, because no side is ever going to be the exact same. So I'm crossing the leg over, wrapping around. I can bend the other knee, and then I'm bringing my opposite shoulder, trying to twist it past my knee if I can. So for me, I have a more flexible left glute on the outside, but I have a more flexible right hamstring. Four, three, two, one, and let it go. Straighten that bottom leg out. Try to float the top leg so it's not quite touching, but even just keeping this position, you're gonna feel your abs already engaged. Let's go for 3 here. Take that up leg and extend it across. Opposite hand, twist through and back. And again, extend, twist through and back. One more time, extend and twist through and back. Cross it over, ankle over knee, or you can do it without that supported leg in the bottom. Pull it in, feel that glute stretch. Remember, nice deep breaths as we hold these. And let go with the hands. Try not to let that leg move. Arms out and bring the foot to the floor. And let that go. And grab the outside of the knee and one more twist over. What's nice for this one sometimes, if I have something to hold on to with my opposite hand, I can really deepen the twist by pulling my chest down on that side. And relax, beautiful. Perfect, all right, so we're gonna start back on one knee here and a bit of a shorter lunge. So I like the shorter lunge because it gives me a little more stretch in that front ankle and the Achilles definitely, and in the back hip flexor, but we're gonna lengthen it out in a second here. So we're gonna start with the short lunge, bending forwards. Make sure that heel stays down, but the more bend you can get into the knee, into the ankle, and the hip flexor, you're getting that nice back bend here to really open up the back hip flexor. Holding. And just like those earlier stretches, when I do this at home, sometimes I like to lift the heel, drop the heel, maybe try to lift the back knee. We'll do that one in a second. Deep breaths. And let it go. All right, scooch it out a little bit further. You can always tuck those back toes if you like, or keep them down the way that they were. We're gonna start by bringing our chest down towards the floor. Don't let that knee flare out yet. We're gonna do a little bit of that coming up. So try to keep it just lined up with that front shoulder. Let's turn a little bit more. And good, so from here, we're gonna take our back, we're gonna try to do this without our hands as much as we can. So we're gonna start straightening our back all the way up like we did, but a longer lunge. Then we're gonna lift the back knee, drop the back knee, stretch back down. And 2 more times, ready? Straighten the back, lift the back knee, drop the back knee, and down. 1 more time. And straighten the back knee, lift the back knee, or straighten the back, and down, and then maybe ease the stretch a little bit. We're gonna do a little bit for our shoulder and our chest. We're gonna take that elbow and pull it back, and then again, we can sink into it more to feel that stretch deepen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good, let's do the other side, and then we'll start with the hamstrings and get back to the hips with the next one here too. So the short lunge, Let the hips move forwards into it, bend into that front knee. Ankle mobility is so important and we overlook it often, but our ankles are carrying all of our weight with everything that we do. So be able to have ankles that bend and flex and are strong in those positions is such an advantage. And bring it back to lengthen it out a little bit. Maybe tuck those toes, and let's bring our chest to the floor. And let's start with our movement now. So using the hands as much as you need, take them off the ground when you can. Straighten the back up, lift the back knee, drop the back knee, chest back to the floor. And straighten the back up, lift the back knee, drop the back knee, chest back to the floor. We're gonna do one more. We'll keep moving with this if it feels really good. Ready, and straighten the back up, lift the back knee, drop the back knee, and shorten the stretch just a little bit. Pull the elbow back and hips forwards. And let it go. Good. All right, so we're gonna do another one that we move a little bit here. We're gonna start with go back to the leg that we used first here. We're gonna start in that lunge, and I'm gonna be pivoting to the outside edge of my foot. So I'm gonna do it on this side so you guys see a little bit better what's going on. So I'm gonna be stretching into my hamstring and then into the outside of my glute, and we're gonna move real slow to make sure we get into the best possible position with the most control. So let's go through it together here. We're gonna straighten the front leg and try to make sure the toes are up here, so we're really lengthening that hamstring. Let the chest reach down a bit if that feels good. And then we're gonna take our heel, we're gonna pull ourselves back, and we're gonna pivot to the outside edges of our feet. So make sure you plant the hands, start with the back foot, bring it down, let the front foot turn, and then try to sink the hips down into that stretch. And straighten back out. Let's do it again. Straighten the front leg. Pull back with the front leg, and then turn into that sideways lunge. And back. Let's do one more here. Straighten the front leg. We'll hold it a little bit longer. And just like all the other stretches, you can make this a bit harder by lifting the hands, putting a bit more pressure and tension on that hamstring, and then easing deeper into the stretch once it releases. And when you're ready, pull back. Pivot to the outside edges of the feet one more time, and then sink down with the hips. I don't like to let the back hip touch on this one. I keep some tension on the outside of the back leg, but it feels oh so good. And relax, and let's do the other side now. All right, set up into that lunge to start, lunge position, and straighten the front leg. Pull back to the lunge, pivoting to the outside edges of the feet. So let's do back leg first, front leg follows, and then pivot the hips. So we're trying to keep the chest towards the knee. And turn back, and again, lengthen. And back, and twist. And back, last one, lengthen. Let's hold a little longer, that hamstring stretch. And when you're ready, pull it back, pivot the feet to the outside edge, and settle that stretch on the outside. And relax, very nice. Okay, so we got a couple more to do here. So we're gonna go back to the inside of our legs, and we're gonna stretch out through those adductors, but we are gonna add a little bit of contraction with the outside of our glutes here, and really feel the core and the obliques. So we're gonna start in a regular froggy. So the one we did earlier was like a triangle shape, and our knees come in. That's gonna make it a little bit easier to bring the hips back and open the knees. We're gonna try to keep that square now, so the feet are directly behind the knees, and we're just letting the hips open in the inside. Just breathe into the froggy. Couple more seconds. And bring it back in. So let's pick one leg to use again. So this one, instead of coming to the outside edge of the foot, we're gonna pivot that lunge. So we're gonna be pointing up. We're just gonna get into the position right away. So just like that shorter lunge I did, I want the knee to bend into it. I don't wanna be too long, so I can bend into my stretch, keep the glutes nice and tight. And then you can always pull back, maybe lengthen a bit, and then get a little deeper. Back, let's do one more and hold. And relax. Now the same leg, we're gonna lengthen it even more, and we're gonna be on our instep. So I want your hands, so think of this like a table position, to be right under your shoulders, and your knee to be under your hip, and we're gonna feel that stretch as far down as we can here. So keeping our hands right here, we're gonna try to lift that leg, and if you have to shorten the stretch a bit to lift it, that's okay. That's all good information for us, for our body, and to know where we wanna improve, where we wanna build flexibility and strength here. So we're gonna go for 3. We breathe in. When we breathe out, we're gonna squeeze our core, we're gonna tighten everything up without bending our elbows, we're gonna lift that leg. And bring it down, stretch it out a bit. Breathe in, and breathe out, lift. You'll feel more weight on this hand, but try not to bend it. And don't bend the other one, sorry. And down, one more time. Breathe in, and breathe out, lift. And down, very nice, shake it out. Let's cross it under for a pigeon. And sink down into it with our shoulders. And before we do the other side, I'm just gonna do a little bit down here. So from my pigeon, I'm gonna try to just lift that knee a little bit. Don't let it get too high unless you've done this before and it feels good. Eventually the goal will be to fully straighten this leg. So from here, we're gonna try to lift the knee, put some tension on the outside of the leg, and then come down. And then we're gonna twist through and then down. Let's do 2 more of those. Ready? And pigeon, up. And down, and twist through, and down. One more time, ready, and pigeon, lift the knee, and down. Opposite hand on the ground, twist, and down, and settle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Oof, that felt amazing. All right, let's go right to the other side here. So our foot is on the ground, toes pointing out, lined up with the knee, and we're gonna bend into the side and bring it back. Try to keep the glutes nice and tight here. Again, bend into the side. And back. One more time, bend into the side. And back, and then instep on the floor. Lengthen out that side split, single leg side split. Let the stretch settle a little bit. Now you'll notice I think my other side is gonna be much better than this side for this one. So pay attention, maybe see how far apart your legs can be while you're still picking up that leg with full control. All right, hands under shoulders, breathe in, and breathe out, lift. And down, settle the stretch. Breathe in, and breathe out, lift. And down, one more time. Ready, and breathe in. Breathe out, lift. And down, and let's cross it under for that sweet, sweet, sweet relief in the pigeon. All right, settle that stretch down, and then we'll start the movements. All right, when you feel up for it, let's start to lift the front leg. So breathe in and breathe out, lift the knee. Keep that tension on the leg. Bring it down and opposite hand through, twist the chest. And down. And again, breathe in, lift, and down, and twist, and down. Last one, breathe in, and breathe out, lift, and back, and twist, and melt. And relax, beautiful. All right, we're gonna do one more to finish up, a little bit of chest and opening the legs too. So let's start on our stomach. So we're gonna open up the chest with this, make sure the elbow is lined up with the shoulder, could be a little bit lower. We're gonna do 2, and then we'll open up the legs, reach to that side. So we're gonna just lift the shoulders. And back. Now we're gonna bend the hand here. So you can put the fingertips if you want. Keep the elbow behind the shoulder for this. And same thing, we're gonna twist open. Like we're getting into an extremely deep push-up. So for anyone that spends a lot of time sitting down, or if our posture needs a little bit of work, often we get a little tight in these areas in the chest. Opening that up is gonna help straighten out that shoulder. And sitting on the ground. All right, this is the best part. After all the stretching we've done, we're gonna open up the legs and it's gonna feel oh so good. And we're gonna reach over to whatever side you guys wanna work on. For now, we're gonna turn and we're gonna try to reach as far as we can with both hands. So try not to just think of the one. Really focus on the opposite hand, reaching into that stretch. Good. From here, we're going to breathe in. And you guessed it, when we breathe out, we're going to let go with the hands. We're going to keep our position, reach longer, breathe out, squeeze. And grab onto it again and hold for 9, 8, 7, 6. Deep breaths. And relax, beautiful. All right, back on our stomach. Let's finish with the other side. Elbow on the floor, a little bit under the shoulder. Again, just the angle of the elbow is just gonna hit different areas of the chest. So a bit under the shoulder, we'll be hitting more into directly that middle of the chest, that bigger chest muscle. So we're gonna open up. And let it go. Hand on the floor now. Okay, like a push-up position, but a little wider maybe than normal, so a bit outside the shoulder. And then we're gonna open up again. Be real gentle with this one. For me at least. And relax. Sitting on the ground. Let's wrap this up, legs open. Love this part at the end, it feels so good. We're gonna turn over to the other side we haven't reached yet, and we're gonna try to reach as far as we can with both hands. Maybe even you can grab the outside of the foot, even harder to do. Let that stretch settle for a few more breaths. And breathe in, breathe out, let go, keep reaching just as far, if not further. Feel the abs pushing you down. And grab on again, pull it further. 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. And that first awesome breath and that first amazing feeling after bringing your whole body out with that kind of stretch. It just feels so good. And the more you do it, the better it feels. That's the best part about stretching like this too. So that's essentially my nightly routine. When I sit, I'll maybe watch an episode and I'll go through those entire sequences. And sometimes I'll take a little bit longer on one area that maybe I feel like needs a little bit more work that day, and I get the best sleep when I finish with something like that after a long day or even a short day. It just feels oh so good. So if you guys like that, let me know your favorite parts. Let me know maybe what's some parts that need more work, something didn't feel so good. I love to hear your feedback. It really makes my day. So any feedback greatly appreciated. And don't forget, please subscribe to my channel for more workouts, more stretches, and let's keep working hard. I'll see you guys later, and bye.